Yes. Such tannins and acidity. And the body, oh my god, the body. And did I mention the tannins? Who invited this guy? Who the hell is Tannin? Did he just hit on your mom? Is this skit over yet?
Hi, I'm Scott. I love wine. You could say I'm a bit of a fool for wine. I'm not a professional, not a sommelier. I've had no professional training whatsoever. 2 decades of drinking wine does not make you a professional. At least that's what they tell me. I've developed a passion for wine, understanding where it comes from, how it's grown, what those subtle differences in climate does from a grape in France to a grape in California is really fascinating to me. And tasting those differences, those little subtle differences between bottles that are, no more than a couple miles and, separated geographically, but could be, miles away in terms of flavor and taste. So really interested in just learning more. And sharing that journey of learning and tasting and drinking better wine together. So I don't want us all to become that guy.
Yes.
But understanding can make drinking that much better. Just a little bit of knowledge that can push you outside of your comfort zone. If you're a little bit foolish, maybe you'll try something different. People have a tendency to lock themselves in based on a singular experience. They make generalizations and assumptions based on a single thing that they drank, a glass of red that was dry and really put them over the edge, it made them never want to try a red again. Or a white that was so oaky, it was like drinking liquid bark, just not enjoyable. And then they make those assumptions going forward that I'm never going to try this again because I had it that one time and I didn't really like it. So when we do that, we can miss out on so much more. There's so many opportunities to drink better wine. Sommeliers and masters of wine have all this knowledge. They've studied, and that's really what they are. They're just wine geeks. They've gone that extra step that the rest of us haven't. They've taken that love and passion and gotten an education, that's focused in on all the different aspects of wine. And it's really cool, but you get them going and it can feel like, it's like talking to the computer geek and suddenly everything that they're saying is going over your head. Wine can be complicated, just like computers can be complicated. But understanding the basics, the fundamentals, and the rest is just details. So where do we begin in our journey? And I think it's important to get back to the basics. Where do we start? At the very, you learn your letters when you're learning your language. So I think that, it's important to learn the characteristics of wine. Rome wasn't drunk in a day. At least I don't think it was. You don't go from drinking white zin in a plastic cup filled with ice to quaffing Opus 1 from a Cabernet Sauvignon glass the next. We're going to take it baby steps. So let's start with the basic characteristics of wine. Sweetness. So when we talk about sweetness, we're literally talking about sugar. And this gets back to the basics of winemaking. You grow the grapes, you harvest the grapes, you crush the grapes, and then you ferment the grapes. Sugar in grapes turns to alcohol. So the higher the sugar level, the higher the final alcohol content can be. Winemakers can allow all or most of the sugar to turn to alcohol, or they can let none at all. That results in a very dry wines. So, if they essentially let all the sugar convert, you're going to end up with something like a Cabernet, very dry red. Think of your dry reds. or they can halt the fermentation process, allow some of that sugar to remain, which is called residual sugar. And these are in your sweeter wines, your Riesling. Check your labels. Some wines will list the sweetness on the label. You might also see the term off dry. This is kind of right in the middle, or can be. It's like a semi-sweet. So, not too dry, not too sweet, just right. Acidity. Next we have acidity. This is the tartness of the wine. It's what makes your mouth water with some wines when you first take a sip. If your mouth's watering a lot, high acidity or higher acidity. The right level of acidity is like the freshness of a little bit of lemon in your water. Gives it a little bite, a refreshing sharpness to it. If that level's too high, then we've gone from refreshing to like rough, like you're wanting to like spit it out or drink a glass of water along with it. Winemakers use an additional fermentation process to lower the acidity in some wines. Can you say malolactic fermentation? Good. Tannins. Nope, not this guy. Tannins are actually a chemical compound that exists in a variety of plants and trees, and of course grapes. The compound has an astringent or bitter quality that creates the drying sensation found most often in red wine. It's like that. It feels like it's sucking the moisture out of your mouth. But tannins are also found in coffee, tea, and beer. They say to put a soaked tea bag on your tongue to get the same effect of tannins, but let's not make things weird. There's an assumption that all red wine has high tannins and are super dry, and that whites don't have any tannin, but that's just not so. Tannins come from the grape skins, the seeds, and the barrels that the wine is being aged in. So the longer the wine stays in contact with any of those sources, the stronger the tannins can be. But fool, what about white wine? True, white wine is white because it has very little contact or no contact with seeds and skins. But again, let's not forget about the barrel. The barrel can impute a lot of what those tannins that you might get out of a white. Still probably not as strong as you're going to get in a red. You can hear tannins referred to as soft, which means a low level of that dryness, or bold or firm, which depending on your palate could mean this wine bites back.
With nasty big pointy teeth.
Alcohol. Alcohol. So wait, we're talking about the alcohol in my alcohol? Yeah, essentially. I know I don't always think of wine in terms of alcohol. When I hear the word, I kind of, go towards like liquor. That's where my brain goes at least. But wine has alcohol in it. Shocker, I know. Anywhere from 5 to 20%. Average alcohol, though, ranges more in the 11, 13. Some of your bolder reds will be in that 13 to 15 area. I've never actually had a wine that was higher than that. I imagine it's quite interesting. Alcohol adds a warming sensation to your tongue and throat. You start feeling it up in here. It can also contribute to our next and final characteristic, body, as wines with higher alcohol content can feel fuller bodied. Body. Body, in terms of wine, can be understood as its weightiness or mouthfeel. That might seem like a disturbing term, but it's not really hiding anything. How does it feel in your mouth and on your tongue? A full-bodied wine coats the tongue and hangs out for a bit. A light-bodied wine is the opposite. You can imagine during the summer, like you don't want a really heavy, full-bodied wine. You want something that's refreshing and it's going to like clear your palate. Medium-bodied wine, well, yeah, it's somewhere in the middle. A good example outside of wine is the difference between skim milk, and whole milk. So there we have it. All of these characteristics can contribute to understanding what kind of wine you might enjoy most And I hope that I've brought a little bit of clarity to some of the terms used most when describing wine. Personally, knowing these characteristics, I can say that during the summer, I prefer low sugar, moderate acid, low tannins, light on the alcohol, with a light to medium bodied wine. That to me is a really enjoyable summer wine. That's not to say that I won't drink a full-bodied, full tannin red, but I'll probably be regretting it in the summer heat. Knowing just those things, I can walk into any wine shop and eliminate half or more of the options that are there. Better yet, I can tell those characteristics to the sommelier. Hopefully there is one, or the store's wine expert, and they'll know exactly what I'm gonna like. That's all for today. I hope you'll continue to join me on this little journey of learning and discovery. If you liked this, smash that like button, like the grape it is. Dad jokes for days. I'm telling you, that's what this channel is going to be about. It lets YouTube and me know that you like this content. Till next time, I would cheers you with wine. Maybe next time I will. Stay foolish. And cheers to drinking better wine.
Your wife know you sit in a room and talk to yourself? Listen, she got me started on wine, so she's only got herself to blame. You tell her that? It's called wine fool, not wine idiot.